Hey YouTube, it's ICU, and today as we start to approach iOS 9's release date, I wanted to create this video to discuss the next untethered jailbreak with you guys and why we haven't seen a new utility for iOS 8.4.1. Remember, Apple is set to take the stage on September 9th where they'll unveil the new iPhones and possibly more. I'll have additional details for you guys on that in the cards. Alright, to get started here, if you guys like the wallpaper I have on my iPhone 6 Plus, you can download it on Best Tech Info. I'll have a post for you guys linked directly in the cards of this video. Also, I am going to have a wrap-up section more at the end. I'll also have an annotation on the screen now if you're on the desktop version of YouTube that will just allow you to skip ahead if you're not interested in all of the details and the logic as to why I came up with these predictions. Okay, let's get straight into this now. So, as I mentioned before, today, as iOS 9's release rapidly approaches, we're going to discuss the future of jailbreaking, particularly where iOS 9.0 is concerned. Now, in spite of the latest TaiG jailbreak for iOS 8.4 having been patched by Apple's 8.4.1 release last month, developers on the jailbreak scene are already looking to the future as iOS 8.x becomes a set of firmware releases from the past. Now, first, before we talk about a potential iOS 9 jailbreak, it's important to realize the time frame for the first installment of Apple's next major mobile operating system. iOS 9 was first unveiled at Apple's 2015 WWDC or Worldwide Developers Conference in June, and since then the firmware has gone through 5 developer-exclusive betas and 3 public beta releases. Now, with Apple's September 9th press conference also rapidly approaching, the company is expected to unveil not only the iPhone 6s and iPhone 6s Plus, but also the much-rumored iPad Pro and iPad Mini 4, as well as the Apple TV 4, all of which, save the latter, are crucial when predicting the release of the next jailbreak. It's also expected that Apple will release iOS 9 GM or Goldmaster to developers on Wednesday the 9th. Now, to summarize, unless Apple does something unexpected and fully releases iOS 9 to the public on Wednesday instead, we should expect 9.0 to be issued to the masses next week on either September 15th or the 16th. Remember though, iOS 9 is the first time Apple has allowed the public to beta test any version of iOS. In other words, they could pull a wild card and just fully release the firmware on Wednesday. Now, furthermore, based on past iPhone release cycles, we can expect the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus to launch on the 18th, which again is paramount for the release of the next iOS 9 jailbreak utility. And it's also important to understand that regardless of the challenges both iOS 9 and its rootless security designation and the next iPhones pose, neither are unjailbreakable. Now, as I've discussed before, rootless is simply the internal name Apple dubbed their security improvements in iOS 9. And although said improvements make jailbreaking require a substantial amount of creativity on jailbreak developers' parts, it's not impossible. And like last year, we need Apple's latest round of iOS devices to be released, and preferably several minor performance and bug fix iOS updates prior to the release of a new jailbreak. However, unlike last year, instead of simply having Pangu on the jailbreak scene at this point, we also have TaiG, a group who brought us the past 2 jailbreak utilities. Moreover, a security team by the name of Keen also vowed to aid in the creation of an iOS 9 jailbreak and stated that they're keen, pun intended, on the idea of teaming up with Pangu to accomplish such a feat. Also, with TaiG having created jailbreaks for both iOS 8.1.x and iOS 8.3 through iOS 8.4, it's allowed Pangu enough time to create an entirely new jailbreak utility. In fact, Pangu even went as far as to jailbreak iOS 8.4.1 at a security conference. However, given that the group hasn't released a new tool for 8.4.1, it's safe to say that they've determined that at least a select few vulnerabilities utilized may persist in the latest iOS 9 betas and in turn the public version of 9.0, causing them to hold off on a release for 8.4.1, which of course is more great news. Even if they're only able to use a handful or one vulnerability, that's better than nothing, and it definitely puts us on our way to a new untethered jailbreak. Now, looking back to last year, Pangu opted to wait until Apple's new line of iPads were released in October before pushing out their utility. Now, depending on what happens with the iPad Pro and iPad Mini 4, the 3 groups currently involved in jailbreaking may ultimately come to a similar conclusion. And now let's get into the summary of this video, what we can expect, and some iOS 9 jailbreak predictions based on everything I've said up until this point. So, what does all this mean? Well, if I were to give an optimistic time frame for the release of a new iOS 9 jailbreak, it would be between the iPhone 6s's release and the end of September. Realistically though, it could take up until the end of October based on the routes both Apple and the jailbreak developers decide to take concerning the next iPads. Remember, iOS 9's increased security measures may also push the time frame back from the end of September into October. Either way though, we'll certainly know more soon, especially after Wednesday when Apple reveals what the company has been working on for the past year or more. And I will keep you guys covered on not only the forthcoming event, remember I will have live coverage, so be sure to click the subscribe button down below next to my channel name, but also what we can expect in the future as we move forward into iOS 9 and beyond from jailbreaking. I really do hope you guys like this video and that it helped you out. Remember, this is a great time to be a part of the jailbreak community. We could definitely be surprised sooner rather than later. And quickly, if you guys are interested in earning paid applications from Apple's App Store and gift cards for free, navigate to freeappsfast.com inside of mobile Safari, sign up, again, download some apps, and then redeem the points that you receive for some awesome prizes, including gift cards and, again, paid applications. Now, if you guys want to be updated more often, such as when I release new videos similar to this one covering jailbreaking as well as Apple's next iPhones, just be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and add me in one of your circles inside of Google+. Also follow me on Instagram at ICUID. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.